Is WWE about to make a big Jey Uso mistake? Well, in this video, I'm going to tell you exactly what that mistake could be and whether or not they are going to do it. And I got to say, oh no. So, look, Triple H, Jey Uso, that booking, well, it's been a little interesting, right? Jey Uso, he's at his ups, he's at his downs under Triple H. But the positives, the pros, definitely outweigh the cons or the negatives because Jey Uso is a much bigger star under Triple H's leadership, under his booking, than he would have been under Vince McMahon. I understand Vince McMahon initially gave Jey Uso his first big singles run, going toe-to-toe with our tribal chief during the pandemic era, crowning him the man that we all know and love. Main event, Jey Uso. But it was under Triple H's leadership where he got away from the bloodline and, more importantly, got away from his brother, Jimmy. Went to Monday Night Raw in 2023 and became a single star, a top star, and his fandom, his popularity, it increased and intensified to the point where he's one of the most over guys on their roster. He also sells some of the most merch out of the entire roster, and that says something when you're going up against the likes of Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, and CM Punk. And when John Cena returns in January, there's another contender. Now, he recently won the Intercontinental title, a title that has had a lot of changes as of late. Sure, Gunther went 666 days as Intercontinental Champion, only to drop it to Sami Zayn, who then went on a multi-month run before losing it to Braun Breaker at SummerSlam. Now, Jey Uso, he won it back a few weeks ago from Braun Breaker. Now they're about to run it back on an upcoming episode of Monday Night Raw. Now, this leads us to today's video. Braun Breaker, he went from a heel, a dominant heel at that. Then he had a little bit of a reality check, and he teased being a babyface. But then he went back to his evil ways and turned heel. So heading into this match, which has a lot of heat on it, I will give it that, and it is on Monday Night Raw, and it is going to be in the main event. It's going to be interesting to see where this outcome comes. On this week's episode of Monday Night Raw, there was a backstage segment where Jimmy went to him and said, hey man, I got your back. You need me. I'm sorry. I got you. And Jey Uso, he didn't want to hear it. He didn't want to hear anything from his brother. Not after what his brother did to him earlier this year. Not after their horrendous WrestleMania 40 match. No. So what is this big mistake that WWE could be making? Well, to answer my own question, I think they're about to make it. I think because the Bloodline War Games is coming up, I think they're going to pull the trigger. I think Braun Breaker, who they see as a potential main event guy for the next 10, 15 years, is going to beat Jey Uso for the IC title. And I think he's going to do so with the help of the Bloodline. I think they're going to go after Jey. I think they're going to go after Jey by costing him the IC title. I think they're going to go after Jey, and they're going to have Jey align with the Bloodline once again. But the OG Bloodline, the Roman Reigns', the Jimmy Usos, and I think they're going to get Sami Zayn to tag along. Regardless of how they get to War Games at Survivor Series next month, regardless, Jey Uso, I think, is about to lose that IC title, and here's why I think it's a major mistake. You can go and you can have Jey Uso defend the title against Braun Breaker in a rematch. Got no problem with that. Braun deserves a rematch. I think all champions do. But instead of dropping the title, why don't you just keep it on him? Because it's not that hard to have the Bloodline get at Jey in another way. They could attack him after the match. They could do something else down the road. And guess what? Jey Uso can still be aligned with the OG Bloodline. He can still be aligned with Roman Reigns and Jimmy Uso. He can still bring Sami Zayn along the way. They can still do War Games at Survivor Series, 4-on-4, or if you want to bring in Haku, not Haku, but Hikuleo. Don't bring in Haku to wrestle. Please don't do that. He's don't do that. But Hikuleo, sure, you want to do that. But you don't need to have Jey Uso stop his singles run just to come to the aid of his family. You don't need him to drop the IC title, a historic and prestigious championship which has been restored under the leadership of Triple H and Gunther. Just for this storyline, it doesn't need to happen. You don't have to have Jey stop his singles run. and go back into a tag team with his brother Jimmy. In fact, I hope they don't do that. I think that's a major mistake if they do that. You don't need to. It's not necessary. You can keep the title on Jey. You can keep him as a single star, and he can go help his family. But I don't see that. I think WWE looks at it like, well, we got Jey as an IC title to kind of shut people up because we kept booking him to lose big matches against big opponents for big titles. So we gave him one. Here's a freebie, Jey. Enjoy it while you have it. And then we're going to go back to our originally scheduled program. Thanks, y'all. Signed yours truly, Triple H. I think that's where we're going. I don't like it. I think it's a major mistake. But we're going to see. We're going to find out come Monday night. And this video could be wrong. This video could be right. I just hope that I am wrong. I hope that he beats Braun Breaker. I hope Jey Uso remains your Intercontinental Champion. I hope Jey Uso goes on a 6-month run as IC Champion. I hope he doesn't go back into being a tag team with Sami Zayn, or Jimmy Uso. And Sami Zayn for that matter. Like, I don't know what they're going to do with Sami necessarily, but like, I don't want to see Jey as his tag team guy. Look, him and Jimmy, they're one of the greatest tag teams in the history of this business. They truly are. Bravo to them. They have done it all. They legitimately have done it all. All the way to becoming the first participants in a tag team title match to headline WrestleMania. Think about that. That is truly, by definition, historic. They've done it all. They've wrestled them all. They've won the titles. They've set the records. They hit the stats. Everything that there is to be done in tag team wrestling, the Usos have done. I would even go as far as saying they are the greatest modern-day tag team in history of the modern era. But that doesn't mean we need to revisit it. We've seen that song, we've seen that dance, we've seen that movie once before. I don't need to see it again. What I do need to see is what's next for Jimmy. Can Jimmy be a single star? Can he stand on his own 2 feet? Can Jey, can he become a world champion? We've seen him become a successful single star, but can he become a successful main eventer, a world champion? Those are questions I'd like to have answered. You only prolong that by going back to the Usos tag team, something which I'm not interested in seeing. I would like to know what y'all think down below. I see Jey as a guy that has main event potential, but it all comes down to whether or not Triple H sees the same thing. What we've seen thus far with booking, I don't know if he does. But let's give him the benefit of the doubt, and let's make Jey Uso main event Usi again.